Hello, my name is Emily Bricker from the Elkhorn Explorers, and today I'm going to teach you what I know about Japanese green tea. The key points of my slide are going to be the benefits of green tea, the different types of green tea, and the proper brewing methods of green tea. The benefits. Green tea plants are very rich in catechins, which is just a fun little word for antioxidants. These antioxidants prevent cell damage, improve blood flow, lowers cholesterol, and it keeps your blood sugar stable. It also lowers your chances of getting certain types of cancer, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, which are just heart diseases, and it reduces bad breath. Types of green tea. There are many types of green tea, but they will always fall into these 4 categories. If you find any other kind, it's probably a subvariant of one of these 4. First, I want to talk about Bancha. Bancha is the cheapest type of green tea you can find. It has a more astringent, which is a bitter flavor, but it is lower in caffeine. Sencha. Sencha is the most popular type of green tea around the world. It has a sweeter, more refined taste, and it provides the most benefits out of all the loose leaf teas because it has the highest concentration of polyphenols, which is again, antioxidants. I have some Sencha here since it is also my favorite type. Green tea, they're usually folded and dry, and they have a very vegetal, which is just a big planty smell. But that's what they look like. They fall everywhere because they're very little. Next, I want to talk about Gyokuro. Gyokuro is the highest quality of green tea. It has a greener color than the most, and it has a sweeter, more vegetal taste, which is a planty taste. It can be incredibly expensive in some areas of the world, but you can find it for cheaper on different websites. But the good thing about Gyokuro, it has a high mineral content, which is why it's perfect for reducing bad breath and improving teeth quality. Next is matcha. Matcha is a very unique category of green tea. It looks like a powder it looks like it could dissolve, but in reality, it is just finely ground up green tea leaves. They take off all the stems and any excess of the plants and just grind the leaves up. If you've ever had green tea flavored foods, like maybe a green tea latte or green tea cookies, then there was definitely matcha in the original recipe. Matcha is also used for many of the traditional ceremonies of Japan, and this is because of its bold vegetal taste. That and it provides most of the nutrients because it is just the ground up leaf. So you get the whole package right in the cup. A few things you need to know before you brew. The first thing is that loose leaf will always give you the best benefits. You can use tea bags if you're in a rush getting somewhere and you just want a taste, but a majority of tea bags are packed with preservatives, so it will reduce a majority of those benefits. Next is if you use too hot of water when brewing your green tea, it will become bitter. It won't remove any of the health benefits, but a majority of people, including myself, don't like it that strong. And this is also the reason that you don't want to steep beyond 3 minutes. 3 minutes is about that time where it becomes a nice bittery taste. So if you want it to stay a more sweeter, more refined smoothie taste, 3 minutes will probably be the limit that you want to keep your tea in the water. Next is it's going to take time to find your perfect kind of green tea. Everyone has their own palate and just what they like different. So if you're looking for your own cup of green tea, experiment with brands, try different brewing methods. You'll find one you'll love for sure. The first brewing method I'm going to talk about is the hot brewing method. First, you're going to fill a kettle with warm water. Next, you're going to boil the kettle to about 175 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 180 degrees Celsius to 85 degrees Celsius. Next, you're going to either fill a serving teapot or whatever cup you're using with 8 ounces of water or more. For every 8 ounces of water, you're going to want 1 teaspoon of loose leaf tea. That's the best ratio. Some people like less water and more tea leaves. It really depends on how strong you want it. but just the most common type is the 8 ounces of water to the 1 teaspoon. Next, you're going to let it sit in your water for about 30 seconds to 3 minutes. Green tea becomes very strong very fast. So if it's your first time, I suggest every 30 to 45 seconds you take a little spoon in your teapot and you just try and see if it's too strong for you. If it is, then you can try again, or if it's not strong enough, you can keep going. But 3 minutes is kind of that limit for most people. Next, you can just pour into your cup and enjoy, or you can add a teaspoon of honey. This will just sweeten it up. You can use sugar, but sugar does add unnecessary calories that honey just does, I think, a whole lot better. Next, I'm going to talk about the 2 different cold brewing methods. Method 1 is called ice brewing, and method 2 is just a plain cold water. So for method 1, the ice brewing, you're going to want to fill a bowl just with ice cubes, and you're going to take a couple pinches of just loose leaf, and you're just going to sprinkle them over. Then, this is where it gets hard. You got to be patient. You're going to allow all the ice melt completely. This will bring out a sweeter taste in the tea due to it being cold. But once it's all melted, you can take whatever kind of cup you're using and just put a cooking strainer above it. Then you'll pour out the liquids and the cooking strainer will catch all the loose leaf and you'll be left with a nice cold cup of green tea. The next brewing method I'm going to talk about is the cold water. So you're going to fill a pitcher up just with cool water. You're going to use the same ratio of 8 ounces of water to 1 teaspoon of tea leaves. Then you're going to let it sit for about an hour and a half until it turns like a nice light green or maybe a yellowy, depending on what type of tea leaves you're using. And then you just pour it into a cup and enjoy. If your pitcher has a built-in strainer, perfect. If not, you can also use the cooking strainer. It doesn't really make a difference in the taste. Next, I'm going to talk about how to properly prepare matcha. Since matcha is unique in its texture and just overall appearance, it is very differently prepared. First, you're going to take your kettle and boil your water to about 175 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, you're going to want to take a kitchen sifter and you're going to sift your matcha powder into a wide bowl. The reason you're going to want to sift it is so when you add the water, there's no clumps or anything, so that you don't just get a whole a whole little bubble of matcha in your mouth. It does not taste great, trust me. Then you're going to pour about 2 ounces of water into that bowl with it. And the reason you do this is because matcha is supposed to taste very strong. It is very bitter, but that's how it's supposed to be. So if you like more bitter teas, matcha will probably be the one you want to go with. But once it's in the water, or once the water is in the bowl, you're going to want to take a chasen. And a chasen is the just normal word for a bamboo tea whisk. These are handmade around the world and you can find them anywhere. I got mine from Amazon. These will make sure your tea has a very frothy, foamy texture, and it'll make sure you have the best possible preparation. So you're going to take your bowl and you're going to want to whisk it in a circle and then in almost a W or M pattern, back and forth. And you want to keep on doing this until there is no powder left in the bowl. If it is too strong, add more water. If you want it to be thicker, you can also add more powder. My summary. Green tea is the healthiest type of tea out there, containing the highest source of catechins. These catechins prevent cell damage, improve blood flow, lower cholesterol. It keeps your blood sugar stable. It also lowers chances of certain types of cancer, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and has very good health benefits for your teeth. So, it lowers bad breath. Next, the different types of green tea we talked about were Bancha, Sencha, Gokuro, and Matcha. And then whether you're preparing a cup of matcha or using a hot or cold brewing method, you are able to find a type of green tea type of green tea flavor that you like. It might take time, but I think it's 100% worth it. Are there any questions? Yes.
What's your favorite brewing method?
The question was, what is my favorite brewing method? For me, it honestly depends. If it's an incredibly hot day, there is nothing better than a good cold cup of green tea. But if it is a very cold day, then I would settle for either a nice cup of matcha or a hot brewing method. And usually I only do matcha on occasions when I'm feeling like, yeah, I'm gonna have a strong cup of green tea. Anything else?
I don't think there's any more questions.
If there's no more questions, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. And if anyone forgets, if there's any questions that anybody has after the presentation, please don't hesitate to come up to me and ask. I will be more than happy helping anyone find a good cup of green tea. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a good day.